Welcome to Caribbean Focus. Caribbean Focus is the community voice of the Caribbean Research Center at Medgar Evers College. The weekly program highlighting educational, cultural, and social affairs airs on WNYE 91.5 FM and stream live on Facebook at Caribbean Focus CF and Caribbean Research Center at MEC. I am your host, Hermina Marcellin, and we are live at the Caribbean Diaspora Investment Forum at Brooklyn Museum. We are live at the Caribbean Diaspora Investment Forum at the Brooklyn Museum, and I would like to welcome Lord Nelson to Caribbean Focus. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good so far. Being near to you make me feel better.
Thank you so much. You just had a very enlightening, great performance and of a younger generation. So tell me a little bit more about your kind of music.
Well, my kind of music goes back so far that I can't even bring you up to what it is nowadays, you see? Yes. But there's a little bit of me in everything that's happening then to now.
And tell me a little bit more about the type of music, your content. You know, you speak a lot about social issues. Tell me a little bit more about how you come up with this type of music.
Let's put it like this. It's what I am seeing, what is in front of me. So I could compose to what is around me. So it's not hard to see how I come up. It's there, and I'm just there putting it together in a visual form.
And you are from, please, Trinidad and Tobago?
No, I'm from Tobago, but I'm part of Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm more Ghanaian, Tobagonian, you know.
I am from St. Lucia, and I know our culture.
Well, I am from St. Lucia. I'm from all around the Caribbean. When you say Lord Nelson,
yes,
I think they would know who I'm talking about.
They're talking, definitely. I really enjoyed your music. You know, you mentioned about the music of today. What do you find is lacking or missing?
It's not lacking or missing. I say time changes, and it goes with time. But there's always a foundation. The roots from the tree is just branching off. But the foundation is dead, and that's where I am. But I could fit yesterday, today, and going forward, future.
Yes.
So I'm in it.
And you are, and as you mentioned, you know, you're looking at the times and how times change.
Yes.
So you write music to fit that time.
Yes. Yes.
Is it a generational thing? Do you have a musical background coming from your family?
No. It's just a gift, I would say.
Yes.
It just happened. Like I mimic calypsonians to be a calypsonian. And I wouldn't even say I'm a calypsonian. I just say I'm an entertainer doing calypso things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, like that.
So you were part of the forum today. How was your experience? How did you enjoy it?
Today?
Yes.
Like any other day. Good. I'm happy.
Yes.
The happiness comes through me. If it's just one person, I feel the same as if it's 1,000 or a million people. I never did that yet, a million, but thousands. I get that feeling to enjoy, to make people laugh, to make them dance and feel how that's what's in me. So I just let it out.
Yes. And this performance was right here at the Brooklyn Museum in Brooklyn. Are you situated in Brooklyn? Do you travel quite often?
Around the world, yes, but I did most of what's happening right now, I did it before.
Okay.
Way back. All, I could say most of the places that is happening now, I did them long time ago. And so I'm just yesterday, today, and going ahead.
So do you have any new music? Are you working on any
Oh
new
yeah,
music?
I have so much music I don't have to just let them go. But right now I'm working with a young man named Kes. And him and I together.
Yes.
They have a new thing going out now. It's big. It's grand. Do we thing.
Yes.
Let we do we thing. So I love Kes because Kes is really a future.
Okay.
And really right now a present. So working with a younger person, I'm not younger than that. I did Marshall. As a matter of fact, I am the papa of all that's happening
And
now.
you're passing it down
Yes.
to the younger generation.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Labor Day is coming up.
Labor Day, I'm me all over. Labor Day in the backyard, on the street. You got to see Papa Nello, that's what they call me now, Papa. Eh? So I am Papa.
Yes.
Looking forward to jam and ram as usual.
With your sparkling outfit, tell me a little bit about the sparkles. Do you always
Now,
dress?
I am my own way dressing. No one could mimic me.
Yes.
I have my own designer, which is my niece. And she do everything. If you look at my dress, look at them.
Yes.
You don't see people go on stage
No, I
like that.
don't.
Well, look at that. And everything is the same. You look underneath, crazy.
Yes.
My clothes, my cap, everything. So much to suit.
Thank you so much. And do you plan at any time to visit Trinidad?
Oh yeah, baby. I'm going to be honored.
Lovely.
Doctorate.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Big up. So you could see, can't say God is good, I just say God is better than good.
Better than
He
good.
don't have no name for God and say God is this.
Yes.
Meeting you is 100% wonderful.
Thank you.
And I thank you
Thank
for
you
being
so
near you,
much.
talking to you.
Thank you so much. Do you have anything that you want to say to the younger musicians?
Well, you
coming
would
up?
always say that to them. Like I said, time changes.
Yes.
And if they want to go ahead or to be ahead, all they have to do is just go ahead and seek the future. It's right there. It's for them to put it together, not to mimic someone else. Be yourself.
Be yourself.
And it'd be there. If you work hard enough, you'll get all the answers correctly.
And that's words of wisdom from Lord Nelson.
Papa.
Papa Nelson, he's correcting me. It's now Papa Nelson. So
Yes.
I want to thank you for sitting down with me for just a quick little chat. And I wish you all the best.
I wish you the same. You know, another thing, you got to tell me your name so I could remember and put it in my book.
Sure, Hermina.
Oh, wait. That's going to be a little hard for me to remember. I write it down anyway in my brain.
Okay.
Nice
Papa
meeting you.
Nelson. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mina.
Okay.
God
Thank
bless.
you. God bless you.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Caribbean Focus, and I am here with Dr. Jimmy Toussaint, who just did a very powerful opening remark at the Caribbean Diaspora Investment Forum. Welcome to Caribbean Focus.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? Who is Dr. Toussaint?
Well, I could go back, but I just don't want to give my age, but I could go back 50 plus years. And what I was told is that I had a very challenging life as an infant. My father, my mother told me it took me a while to strive. But somehow, I don't know, that probably just gave me that drive to try to succeed. But it's not just about me. I am a very strong believer in not individuality, but that wholeness of people coming together, because I've seen it. I mean, although I'm a scientist by training, there was this one course that I did in university where they looked at the different ethnicities and groups that came to the U.S. here, you know, they looked at the Italians, the Irish, they looked at the Caribbean people. And basically, that course looked at how they developed over time. And what was so amazing about that course is that compared to the other groups, the Caribbean group, they're just not developing as fast as the others. So I looked at that and I said, you know, I believe the problem is that we're not together. So I have been working with an organization called T.E.A.M. Actually, I am the person who came up with the acronym because I think T means togetherness. And we've been working to try to bridge that gap where it comes to, like, you know, the Caribbean person, etc., and how we as a group could really come together and develop.
And you mentioned the acronym TEAMS. Could you tell us exactly what it stands for?
Right, so specifically, that acronym, well, it stands for the Tobago Empowerment Alliance Mission. And the reason why Tobago is there is because it was a group of Tobagonians who met together and said, you know what, we could do something for the homeland. So that is why, you know, T is Tobago. But it could be anything else, really.
It can be Trinidad.
Well, at once I was thinking about T.E.A.M, which is still T.E.A.M, but right now our focus is on Tobago. Eventually, I believe if Tobago develops, then Trinidad and Tobago develops.
So how important was this forum today?
This forum is very, very important. The reason why is because me personally, individually, I've been looking at ways how I could give back to Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago. And, you know, I look at it from the perspective that my development came from there. I got free schooling up to the age of 20. I mean, that's very, very expensive, and the government paid for that. It gave me the opportunity to come here and propel my life. And I just believe that, you know, we shouldn't turn our back on people or the country that help us. So now I'm in the position where I could, you know, give back. So that is why that is so important.
And you are based in Trinidad and Tobago?
No, I'm actually based in New York here. Actually, I would tell you, so I've lived most of my life here. And that means 25 years I've lived here. I have lived in Tobago, I would say, about 13 years. Yeah, about 13 years. But as we have a saying back home, wherever your navel string is buried, you know, you're always tied to there. So even though I've lived here 25 years, my focus is really on Tobago. I mean, I lived in Trinidad for about, I know somebody might start adding up all the maths, but I've lived there for about 13 years, and Trinidad and Tobago is my country, but I see the inequalities when it comes to Trinidad versus Tobago, and, you know, I would like to change that.
Speaking on change and speaking on togetherness, how do you see teams merging with the community, especially the Caribbean community in, let's say, New York City?
Right. So our, you know, sometimes what you do, you start with the lowest hanging fruit. So right now, our focus is on Tobago itself. With funding, etc., and we are working on that because funding is always important, we want to move to include Trinidad. And beyond that, we want to be able to move to include the diaspora, or we may be able to, if we have enough funding, we may be able to do everything together. So with the diaspora, we would be able to reach out to several other Caribbean countries, etc., hopefully. And if you notice in my speech, I spoke about people from Grenada, Guyana, Trinidad. So what I was actually alluding to is that we are too small to, like, kind of like isolate ourselves, like say, okay, we're just Tobago, let's just stick with. We need the Caribbean community for us to move here as a people.
And what specifically, I mean, I don't mean to, you know, you to explain in detail, but what specifically your projects, what would it entail looking, what would you say that
Right.
would look like?
Right. So for the last 7 years, we've been doing these annual events. We actually have 4 annual events.
Okay.
And what we try to do is, raise finances in order to support some community groups back in mostly the rural area of Tobago. I mean, you could see many countries, it just happened. The rural areas are generally marginalized. So you would see, even in the US here, you would see people try to get out of Nebraska and move to New York City
Yes.
because opportunities are there. So we have been focusing on the rural areas. But I think we have gotten to the point, and I don't know if it's the lucky 7, that we have, as I say, we have grown up, we have gotten all our vaccination shots, and now we want to look at bigger things. And one of the reasons that, it's not actually a reason, but one thing that we've been kind of like focusing on, and I'm coming back to that, is funding. So we have been getting funding basically, by running these little events. But what I've also noticed is that these events entail a lot of manual labor.
Yes.
And people have been, I think they're just like burnt out now. So if the organization want to continue to live, we have to pivot and figure out ways to continue. So one of the ways we work together, and we decided here, these manual type offering that we're using to get funding, we need to move away from it. We need to start to work smarter. So there's this one designation that we are really working beyond. This is something behind. This is something called a 501c3. So right now we are not a 501c3, and what basically a 501c3 does, it allows foundations, etc., to donate to our cause. And with they donating, they could always get, a tax write-off, etc. So basically, it's like the government actually giving us money in a sense. So we are focusing, we're like pinpointing that right now. After our flagship event in September, we are just focusing on that. And hopefully, with that type of funding, we could do the type of work we want, expand beyond just Tobago, to Trinidad, to the diaspora here.
You are the head of
I'm
the
not the
team.
head.
You're not.
No,
So it's everyone.
No, we have a president,
Okay.
vice president, we have
Okay.
a secretary, treasurer, PRO, but somehow I get my way.
Somehow you get your way
Yeah.
because you created the acronym.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say because I created the acronym. One of the, okay, so my day work is, I'm a scientist at J&J, but I work hybrid. 2-3 days I'm home. So I think looking at the executive, so I'm part of the executive, most of them, they work full Monday to Friday. So I usually have a little extra time, and I just say, use that time to see if we could just focus on the organization. Yes, it entails a lot of work. Sometimes I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to sleep at 12, but I like it because at the end of the day, what really motivates me is the people who are seeing the vision also. So there are a couple people I could bring to mind, and there are many others. There's this one guy named Andre Nelson. He actually started last year. He just started reaching out to his friends and say, send $100, send this, send it. He did it this year again. And then he brought a friend of his own a lawyer who is willing to get that 501c3 for us, something that basically costs like $3,000 to get it done. He's willing to do it free for. So and then there are other people, they just want to get involved in the movement.
In the movement. And speaking about people getting involved in the movement, is there outreach in Tobago? Is there a place or
Right.
planning happening in Tobago?
Right. So over the last year, and I don't want to say that, of course, the pandemic wasn't a good thing, but
Yes.
with the pandemic, many people went online. And then there was the rising up of Zoom, etc. So we also had to move our meetings from a physical meeting to that virtual. And that is how we were able to get people from home also involved in the meeting. That never happened before the pandemic. And with that, we started, because think of it, and I always say this, I've heard many people say this, well, I sent this for them, or I told them to do this. It doesn't work like that if you want to build bridges with the homeland. You can't just be, there's a word called neo-colonialism, where the new people, they're trying to colonize these islands again. You need to work with them. Yes. You need to work with them. You need to exchange ideas. So we've been having that. I mean, there are fights, yes, we know that. There are disagreements, but you need to work together. It should be like that.
And what would be your final remark to our listening and viewing audience?
Well, right now, I would say our organization, specifically dealing with that, we have an issue with getting membership. And generally, the younger membership, we're feeling there. We are open to anyone who is willing to come and work with us, who has, gonna be there to help fulfill that vision that we have. So we are open to anyone like that. If you need to reach out to us, we have this major platform, really, it's Facebook. We have like 7 years of information there. I guess you could just Google or go to Facebook and look for Team Tobago. You would find us and join us. We are just open to anyone, as I said, who has that village, who wants to walk that road with us.
Dr. Jimmy Toussaint, I want to thank you for this short sit down, and I wish you so much success in your endeavors with T.E.A.M. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We are continuing our coverage of the Caribbean Diaspora Investment Forum at the Brooklyn Museum, and I am here with Mrs. Cherrise Singh. Mrs. Cherrise Singh is the founder of Fashion Industry did I get that right?
Yes, Trinidad and Tobago.
That's what that stands for. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me on Caribbean Focus.
Thank you for having me.
Could you tell me just a little bit about your background? Where are you from?
I am from Trinidad. I grew up in Santa Cruz, a very small village, and I now live in St. Augustine, very close to the university. My background is in fashion. I studied fashion at the MBA level. In terms of the business side of managing creativity, and I'm pursuing my doctorate on the creative industries in Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension the Caribbean. Me getting involved in these projects, it's to me a form of creativity as well. So development of any country, of any nation, there has to be some vision, and then with that vision you have to execute some sort of plan to get it done, and it's the same process with the creative industries. You have these ideas and these visions, and you need to sort of curate it, bring it all together, and execute.
And you fit many roles. One of them, again, is the personal advisor for
yes.
Mr. Duke. Could you tell us a little bit about this role?
Well, Mr. Duke and I, we had a very good relationship and a very good understanding in that he is pro-human rights, he is pro-development, and it drew me to what he's doing. And so we got into conversation, and I'm here. I'm here as his personal advisor.
You're here as personal advisor from Trinidad.
From Trinidad.
And actually traveling from Trinidad to Brooklyn, New York, is that your first time or one of many trips?
No, this is one of many trips. I actually love New York, being a fashion person. So this is like home to me. I come every Christmas, I come every summer, so I actually enjoy being in New York, and I think this is different, knowing that it's the biggest catchment of the Caribbean diaspora. So just bringing what we're doing to the diaspora is exciting in itself.
And again, it is exciting that we're here at the Caribbean Diaspora Investment Forum. What do you think about having this forum? How important do you think it is?
I think it's important for us to make that or create that bridge between the homeland and the diaspora, because people can resettle in the homeland. Tobago, if you've ever been or if you plan to be, it's absolutely beautiful. And it's beautiful for retirement, it's beautiful for reinvesting and investing. And of course, with the main project that we have, the Sustainable Green City of Roxborough, just sharing that and engaging the diaspora and having them be a part of it is a really, really big thing for us.
And how do you merge, you know, as you mentioned, it is part of creativity, but how would you merge you as the founder of fashion industry with what's happening here?
The strange thing is, I am also a public relations executive. I am trained in that. So I'm trained in journalism, content generation, crisis management, and fashion has always been that side baby, that pet that I have. And I think it's given me a superpower.
Yes.
Like merging public relations and fashion has given me a broader perspective in terms of being able to not only present the leaders of our country, but to present their ideas and their vision to the world. So I think fashion helps me a lot in terms of bringing those, as I said, those creative ideas that they have, that vision for development, into just the public domain that they can understand it and relate to it. So fashion, fashion has given me my superpower in this business.
And when you speak of fashion, in Trinidad and Tobago, where are you situated, in Tobago or Trinidad?
I am in Trinidad, but I work 3-4 days a week in Tobago.
Okay.
And yeah, we just go back and forth. It's not that bad.
What exactly does that entail as far as your job description? Well, how does that
So
function?
the office of the Deputy Chief Secretary, it's really new. It's an historic office as well. We are responsible for foreign direct investment, diaspora engagement, intergovernmental, and my role really is to look at all the different pieces of this office, bring them together, give the DCS technical advice, and of course in building out the office, because I would have had experience prior in other national development projects, like we had a project like this in Chaguaramas. It's also a beautiful part of the island. My contribution, you know, it goes beyond just personal advice, but looking at the entire setup of this new historic department of the Tobago House of Assembly.
Oh, great. And then you've also written for, I read editorial work. Yes, tell me a little bit, because that's in line with the fashion.
Yes, so my first job was a junior editor for a business and technology publication. And he was actually my first mentor, a guy named Peter Neptune, and he was the editor-in-chief for the Guardian newspaper at one point, which is a major publication there. So he taught me everything I need to know about writing. So, you know, writing economics, business, technology, and then the softer stuff like fashion. And that helps now with, of course, communicating the development of Tobago and Trinidad by extension, because we develop prospectus, copywriting, speeches. The whole thing comes together in a way where, again, it is the presentation of our country and our islands.
And speaking of presentation, do you have people coming to your offices, and exactly what are they requesting, or what are they coming to get assistance?
So this main mission for us, this investment forum, is really to expose not only the diaspora, but major investors in New York, in China, globally. Our mission after this is hopefully to get them to Trinidad and Tobago, show them what we have to offer and how they can contribute to the development of our country.
Yeah, are you getting support, let's say, from the Prime Minister? How closely engaged is he?
The thing with our country, yes, we're active politically, but generally policies continue. There's so much continuation in policies and the way we develop, which is amazing and it's great in its own. So investment come in, it's not one government is in, one government's out, we pull the cord in anything. I think that we're sensible people, we're brilliant people, and generally if it's a good idea and it's a good policy, it will follow through. So we get supports.
That's excellent. And do you have any plans to branch you personally to New York?
Yes, Vancouver, yeah. So I'm looking at Blanche McDonald in Vancouver to do finally some fashion and marketing PR and then finish off the doctorate with that knowledge.
That's excellent.
And I hope to take that back to the Caribbean as well, because I would be honest, having some education and experience in the creative industries has helped me in my business career.
Yes.
So it's a major advantage.
And then you, in one way, giving back
Yes.
to your community.
Yes, my hope is one, true development, because as a millennial, for me it's important to see my country develop and of course to leave something for my children to see, okay, this was my homeland, even though I may migrate or not be there, you'd still want to be connected and see your country develop, and I'm passionate about that. And of course, transferring my skills to people in Trinidad and Tobago, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Any final words, even about the forum, to our avid listeners and viewers, maybe to Tobagans here and abroad?
I think that we are in a good space now as a country. I think we have young leaders under the leadership of Mr. Duke, Mr. Watson Solomon Duke. He is very forward-thinking, he's very progressive, he's passionate about development and human rights, and I think that we're in a good space. We're in a good space when we see young leaders come forward, and the millennials, we're really fighting for that change in our country.
And you're definitely part of this change.
Yes, I enjoy it. I really want to see my country develop, and I think that we have so many brilliant, beautiful, kind people, and I think we really deserve this development now, and it's our time.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Continue looking fashionably forward.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this
Thank you
interview.
so much for having
and
me.
this sit down. Thank you for watching and listening.
Thank you, guys.
This is Caribbean Focus. We are continuing our coverage of the Caribbean Diaspora Investment Forum at the Brooklyn Museum, and I am here with Assemblyman Mr. Watson Solomon Duke. How are you doing today?
The pleasure is mine to be in this great place, this great nation, and appeal to my people from the Tobago Diaspora.
Thank you so much for joining us on Caribbean Focus. I want to just speak with you a little bit about this forum. Could you tell us a little bit about this event, what took place?
This is where Tobago is coming to its people who have been scattered abroad and saying to them, we need you to man up, woman up, and take an active role in some of the issues that are going on. And so those issues has to do with the development of the nation, from an infrastructural point of view, and also from a social point of view, where the laws of governance sometimes interferes with the quality of life for people.
For those who do not know, before we delve further, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from a little village in the eastern side of Tobago called Roxborough. It is the fighting village, the village where they once had the Belmana riots in 1776, somewhere around there, I think it was. It's a fishing village. People are very united, folks. So I grew up there, went to school right in the area there, and then I became a trade unionist while I did my daytime job at the Water and Sewage Authority, which is a water company in Tobago. I moved up the ranks to become a trade unionist, and later I took over the entire trade union movement, where I led all the public servants, and then I led also to all the unions. as the president of the National Trade Union Center. And from there now, I went straight to politics.
Straight into politics.
Yeah, straight.
And Assemblyman, could you please tell us some of the investments that you envision for Tobago?
Right, Tobago has to divest. We have to go beyond just agriculture. We have to attract tourists who is there to shop, tourists who is looking for something exciting, and tourists who is just looking for a different type of life. So what we have sought to do is to create a hybrid of Tobago fused with a Dubai kind of setting. We have islands out in the sea, and we have this private jetway, manufacturing, and those type of stuff. The whole project is going to cost a couple billions US, but I think that once it's done, it's going to be able to employ a lot of people and change the economy for Tobago. It's not going to just be a tourism economy again, but it's going to be a tourism economy based on steroids. Yeah. And
I just had a sit down with Dr. Toussaint in regards to teams. Tell us a little bit about this partnership with teams.
I think teams have been doing a very good job insofar as keeping Tobagonians organized and keeping them focused. And now, for the very first time, we have set up the Diaspora affairs in Tobago. I'm out here now to say with teams that let's partner together and let's up the game. Let's do a little upsides.
And when you speak of upsides, what are some of these specific investments are you foreseeing specifically?
There are many people here who are talented and they may not be able to build an island or perhaps put a big building down, but in their own way they could come back home and we're going to give them soft loans, etc. And they can go into business. For anyone who wants to do that, the House of Assembly will be more than willing to look at leasing them lands and giving them access to the business development unit, which gives grants at times. And there are many grants and things available from a Tobago perspective that can make the ease of doing business something that's worth their while. So we stand here to work with teams to achieve those things. And we're hoping that the Tobago diaspora will grab it in both hands.
And is that incorporated into the investment opportunities as well?
Well, yes. The investment opportunities are, we also cater for large scales. We have a couple of islands. We want to build a brand new airport, boat port, marina. We want to do medical tourism, big things like that, manufacturing sector. So those are big spending monies, and we are looking for persons who are into that type of big business. We may have 1 or 2 persons from the diaspora who may be able to do that. But today's crowd was basically to just sell them the dream. So we have buying and participation in an effort that they will help shape the dream.
Right. And how do you foresee this continuous partnership? Do you see it coming from the regular, or I should say our natives, or do you want that involvement from anybody, from all parts of the diaspora?
We want from all parts of the diaspora, but even beyond the diaspora, we're saying money is money.
Yes.
And we accept all money as good cash. So once it comes, we're going to accept it.
You're going to accept it. I want to thank you so much for having that sit down with you. But before you go, is there anything that you would like to share with our listening and our viewing audience based on the forum that just took place?
Well, yeah, we want to say that Tobago, we are here to stay, and the T.E.A.M is going to play a very important role in the lives of our diaspora. We are not going to ignore the contributions they have made over time to Tobago and what they have made to America. And we want to strengthen on that and build on that, and also build on strengthening our folks back home in Tobago even more.
Even more. And you mentioned about strengthening it back home. Is there a connection between back home and the Caribbean community in New York? And even
it's very wide. I'm saying to you, one Caribbean we no longer have a Tobago man or Trinidad man, we have a Caribbean man. And so, in the wider sense of the word, we have to speak to that Caribbean man and that native of the Caribbean. So yes, we want to speak to the Caribbeans in New York and all that kind of stuff.
I want to thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Caribbean Focus and a very short sit down. Thank you so much, Assemblyman. I wish you so much success in your endeavors.
Thank you so much for having me. The pleasure's mine.
Thank you so much. Same
Nice.
here. Bye.
Lovely.
Thank you.